Okay, did you ever hear about those people that somehow have gone through life and have never tried weed? I never was tempted to try weed. And I'm one of the rare people. I don't know. I may be the only one that grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, on through, and all those glorious decades. Until yesterday, I had never tried marijuana of any kind, shape, or form. My forte was always drinking, proud family lineage of that. But recently I found myself terribly injured, and I'm still on very slow recovery with muscles that were torn from my rib cage. And it set off a series of unfortunate dominoes that fell. First, the waking up and feeling like you're being stabbed, and realizing you've done something really serious to yourself, and after a day the pain's not gone away. You start to chest things, and the day after, the second morning after the injury, I thought I was feeling a little better in the morning, and I went to roll on my side that got injured just to kind of test it, right? And that just seemed to rip the last remaining muscle off of the rib bone down there, because suddenly I could feel that thing free moving in my body. And the pain really ramped up at that point tremendously. Okay, stupid me, right? So I start taking a lot of medicine, like naproxens and painkiller and things like, and with Tylenol, and I don't know what else I was taking. But that led me to start feeling nauseous, and then for the next 4 hours I was vomiting. We can imagine the extra damage that put onto the situation already, with ribs and muscles that are already torn to pieces. Now you're going to use what muscles you have left to do one of the most traumatic moves the human body can make, heaving, right, with all that. So we're not going to dwell on that, though. We're going to talk about the worst part of this injury. Has not been, the dull pain or whatever, or not having a definitive idea of what exactly happened, because there's no bruising or impact point. But what I'd experienced was a lot of spasms that would periodically hit when you shift position or do even laugh. And then all of a sudden, the muscle there just goes into, it's like an electric shock, like you're plugged into the wall, and somebody's just putting a stun gun on. It's incredibly painful. And I didn't seem to be able to control that. Now I'm getting tired of taking, I'm not used to that. I don't do a lot of pain meds. Rosie doesn't do injury, right? So finally yesterday afternoon, after a ride down to my friend's house to celebrate Christmas, I came out in pretty rough shape, having to pull myself out of another friend's truck to get into the house, and I guess I looked a little ragged. And finally, I think the boss, my friend the boss, we call him the boss, said, maybe you should try a gummy or something, let's try some marijuana or something. I'm like, I never had anything against it. I voted for all the things in favor that you could do, the legal changes here in California, or at least the legislative changes. So I was never opposed to it. I just was never interested in it. So I said, okay, I've been around a hell of a long time, and I think I surprised him. I turned to him and said, yeah, let me have a gummy. And he gave me one of these, they're called Fruit, F-R-O-O-T, and this was cherry cannabis infused premium fruit chews, indica here. So I never had it before. Cherry pie, and it's 10 milligram. He assured me it's 100 milligram total THC. He told me that it's not going to be much. This is like the starter pack. And I said, I don't care. I'll give it a try because I'd like to stop this spasming. Well, I took that fruit chew, And after about a half hour or so, I started feeling just a little fuzzy. And I had the experience of starting to rev up and do even more talk. As you guys know, I'm a nonstop talker, right? My friends just tell me, geez, the day that Rosie stops talking, call 911. Something's seriously wrong. So I found myself telling more stories and talking more and feeling pretty good, just feeling like a little fuzzy around the edges. And then after about an hour, I noticed that my spasming, thank goodness, or maybe thank gummies, over the next 5 hours or so, that I didn't really have any spasming and I could actually enjoy Christmas with my friends. And I thought, okay, I've got to really, because I've had a few things. I still had residual pain pills. I had one of those chemical heat patches on my side. So there was a combination of things. So later on, when I got home, even on the ride back, the 50-mile ride back to my home from my friend's place, I found myself like really sleepy at like 8:50 at night, 9 o'clock at night. And I'm never like that. I'm always high wired, and then I get in bed and I can't sleep for hours. I toss and turn. And I thought to myself, this is amazing. For the first time in years, I feel a little sleepy. So I got home, and by that time, that gummy had long worn off. So I decided to try to get in bed, and that's very painful to get up and down. So I popped the gummy beforehand on that, and I just had a very wonderful sleep and a good rest last night. So the experience I had, though, was I did notice like things that I wanted to do. Like, we were watching football games on Christmas. There was two really nice games on the networks, and we were watching that. And I would periodically talk and comment on, oh, I ought to show you this that happened in this to this team. And I find myself, when I'm trying to do something like call up a video or think, I'll forget, what am I looking for? Or I'm going to look up something. I'm going to check my phone, and I'm like, what am I checking? Right? Like, what the hell? Right? So it definitely numbed down my ability to, not bad, but I just found myself like laughing at myself, like, man, what are you doing? Right? So it kind of just, it tinkered with my thought processes a little bit. I guess that's the way that I would put it. So I couldn't decide. It was like, oh, what was the name of that song that I've played 5,000 times leading up to Christmas? And what was it? We just played it 5 minutes ago. I don't know, and then it never comes to me, and that thought process is done. So it definitely kind of mucked with my thinking a little bit, and also my ability to articulate and talk a little bit. Now this is a little baby carriage starter size, right, of the product, but it still did a very nice job, and I think the price was very $8.99 for, I don't know, 10 pieces of that. I judge that to be quite a lot of value. Because I'm not interested in smoking, to tell you the truth, and I just think that I'm really just using this for pain management as opposed to recreational use. Although, as I said before, I support anybody that wants to do that, job permitting, and imbibe in some grass. That's fine. But for me, this really has worked very well to, I hope, put me on the path to recovery, because if nothing else, the terrible contractions that I've had are really what destroys the quality of life. I still get them once in a while, right? But they're not of the frequency before, and I'm just hoping things get better and better. But I'm going to depend on these to help me get through. And I think, all in all, I had a very positive experience with my first use of marijuana. Very interesting. Something I thought I would never